This is the Super Sports Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur Steak Ranchers.
1, 2, 3, go!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Super Sports Schools podcast brought to you by Spur. I'm Alex White, and this week we're at Durban Girls College for their under-16 water polo tournament. It's hot here, which means that summer is coming and it's time for another water polo season. So we thought in this episode we'd look ahead at the season to come, and I get to geek out a little bit because we chat to Lee Keet, who played water polo for South Africa at the highest level and now referees for South Africa at the highest level. So we're going to talk about the new rules and instructions for water polo and what the intentions behind them is. But first, here's Lee.
Lee Keet, thanks so much for joining us on the Super Sports Schools podcast. Just to start off, can you introduce yourself to us?
My name is Lee Keet. Obviously, married surname is Stewart, but we always keep answering to Keet anyway. I am a wife to Don Stewart. I am a mum to two beautiful little girls. I am a water polo nerd, and I'm a teacher at Northlands Primary School. And yes, that's pretty much it.
We're here today to talk about you as a water polo nerd. That's what we want to focus on. I'm interested to know where it started. Why water polo?
Well, coming from a school like Clarendon High School and primary school, and living in East London, your main hangout or the best time was just being around the Joan Harrison, and you just could not play water polo. If there was a ball in the water, you played. So from the primary school, the water polo ball was getting thrown into the diving pool. So it was just one of those fun games that we got involved in at a very young age. My dad coached, and I was very lucky to grow up in East London where that water polo wasn't just a sport you played, it was a lifestyle. It was a place where everyone joined together, the community was there. It was just part of, just growing up. And we were very lucky to have good role models and mentors and coaches there. And the bug bit very early. And I remember trying out for the border ladies team when I was in grade 8, and I was bitterly disappointed, but that's how much I loved the sport so much. I just wanted to play as much as I could.
And how far did you take it as a player?
I went to 4 World Champs, at Commonwealth Games, and that was...
So about as far as you could take it?
Pretty much, yes. Yes. Yeah.
And then something else that we know, we've had Marcelle on, your sister, on the podcast as well. And New Zealand have the Barrett brothers, who all played in the All Blacks at the same time. South Africa, we have the Keets, who all played for South Africa at the same time. Yeah,
we were very, very lucky. The World Champs in Rome, there were the 3 of us playing. I think Sally did tell the story once. It was, we all played, I was cap number 8, Samantha was cap number 9, and Marcelle was cap number 10. So when they introduce you in your water polo lineup before every international, numero 8, Keet, numero 10, or whatever 9 is, Keet, and numero 10 was Marcelle. So it was very, very cool listening to all 3 Keets, yeah. No, just the LaRue brothers were also one of the sibling teamsters as well. But it was very, very cool traveling with and touring with your sisters and having a constant training partner all the time, at home. That was also very, very cool.
And then any highlights from your experience playing polo for South Africa? Too many?
There are. We as a South Africa, we being a non-professional outfit, we being able to go to those tournaments is alone an honor and an opportunity that you can never, it's something you try and explain to people, but that experience alone, being able to play against Olympians, being able to play against Olympic champions, you learn how to play hard. You learn how to play harder. You see what a professional outfit looks like. And you can always act like a professional, but being experienced to the way that they do things and being able to bring that home is something that every single little girl who's playing now can look forward to one day. it's something remarkable as a player to be able to be part of that whole vibe. It's very, very cool.
As something also in South Africa that we aspire to having one day is that all our major sports become professional. Because obviously we don't have it. And I remember in the hockey podcast with Marcelle, we were talking about hockey as a perfect example of that, of not being professional for the women's game, and for water polo across the board not being professional. The thing about water polo that's so interesting in South Africa is that at school level, it's massive. And we're here at Durban Girls College today. There's a big festival going on behind us. I went to an all-boys school. Water polo is massive. But I don't really know about water polo outside of school. And I think for a lot of people in South Africa, the water polo they know is school water polo. So there's something that schools are getting right. What do you think needs to be done to kind of bridge that gap and to take it further?
When you go to Europe and you go to Australia and, all the professional setups, you've got club structures that are financially supporting the national setup. So schools can't support our national setup. It's not a reality, So the clubs in all the other countries, they're the ones that support the professionalism within the national program. So we, as South Africa, it's really, I think, one of the reasons why rugby is so strong, because from a grassroots level, we've got such a good school rugby system. And with water polo, we've got such a good school water polo system. But unfortunately, once we leave school, we can only get to a university system, or there are some clubs out there, but there are not as many clubs as there are school programs. So if we could improve our club systems, to a point that the clubs are supporting our national program, I think that would help a lot. Yeah.
And then hopefully one day we can see it becoming professional and having more clubs as well. I think that would be so cool, because there are so many people who play water polo at school and then maybe don't play it afterwards and would like to. But you didn't stop playing and then leave water polo behind completely. You're still incredibly involved now. And I want to talk about that transition, because I gave up, as an example, I gave up rugby, stopped playing in grade 7, and then started refereeing rugby in grade 9. And for me, it was all about staying involved in the game. And I just had a passion for the laws and the technicality of it. I really like that. I know lots of people hate the laws, but the whole technical aspect about it, and it's a challenge every single time, and it's a way to stay fit. All of that. I love it. And I know it takes a specific type of person to get into it. So for you, what was it that put you on that path?
I was very lucky that the relationships that I made through water polo led me into I was at the right place at the right time. I literally just kind of hung up my cap, and Guy Pinker, who was our South African delegate on the FINA water polo delegates, they were looking for more female refs, and I put my hand up. My dad always used to say, if you know the rules well enough, you can manipulate the rules well enough in the pool. So I made sure that you know enough to be able to use it to your advantage. So I knew the rules back to front. I mean, like I said, I was a water polo nerd. So knowing the rules in the pool, it became quite easy to officiate a game out the pool. And to be honest, my refereeing career actually started at Masters in the 60-plus pool in East London, where they didn't have enough referees. I think I was also grade 9, grade 8, and they needed a referee to ref some of those games. And I loved it. To be honest, I loved the tension that I got more than actually refereeing the game. But I learned that it was actually quite nice. It was nice to be able to control a game, to be able to implement the knowledge that you learned from playing it for so long. And it was quite easy to, kind of grow in the refereeing platform. I was very lucky that I had mentors like Gus Pinker and now Dion Willis, who's really been helping me with my refereeing career. He's also now on the FINA delegate. And being a female referee, there is a need for it at an international platform. So I could say I was, what's the word, I got to places a lot quicker than other people because of being a female. But in saying that, it was also my knowledge. When I got to those places, I didn't let anyone down. I was able to hold my own, make a mark for myself and on an international scene, and then carry on.
And any highlights from that journey so far?
Well, definitely would be Serbia, the World Under-18 Championships. I managed to officiate the final, which has definitely been the highlight so far. It was extremely nerve-wracking because that pool system, you've just got this little platform and the crowd is about 30 centimeters behind you. So it's, you
feel it.
You literally feel it. And at that level, when you're playing, if you make a mistake, your team kind of backs you and can fix your mistake for you. But when you're reffing, you get one mistake could literally cost a final for another country, set their program back, or, so that energy and that intensity and that stepping up to that level of water polo, it really makes me excited because, that's just the level that I'd like our water polo to be on. So it's nice to be there, yeah.
And it's always cool to stay involved in a sport that you love, and that, especially one that if you're a nerd, you love the sport, you want to stay involved. So I can relate to that. To get a bit technical now, because I love to do that when we're talking about sports and laws and things, and having a fellow ref, that's very exciting. First of all, referee or umpire? You've been saying referee, so I take it it's referee for water polo. The Super Sports Schools team behind the scenes were a bit undecided on exactly what you were officially called. And off air, you were telling me something that I've never heard before. I'd like you to repeat it, because the difference between a referee and an umpire, I never knew this, and this is amazing.
So I was told, and I did do a little bit of research. So a referee is anything without a weapon of sorts. An umpire is a bat, a stick, a racket. Anything that is an umpire.
And there obviously are exceptions, but I can think already, hockey, there's sticks, cricket, there's bats,
umpire,
tennis, they're rackets,
and umpire,
rugby, football, there's just us.
Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, referee, yeah.
Cool. No, I like that, and I didn't know that, and I'm definitely going to remember that and use it as often as possible. We're going to throw it into a future quiz, I think, and see if whoever we get on in the future's been listening. Then the other thing, there are generally two of you at the pool, one on either side. So you have to communicate. Sometimes you obviously work with a team, especially in rugby. It used to be a game refereed by one person. Now it's a referee, his two ARs, the television match official. So they're generally four people in charge of a match. So for water polo, the communication, if you see something, they see something, and you might not agree.
So at an international level, you use earpieces, so you're communicating constantly with your colleague on the other side. Lately, what has been included at an international platform is a VAR referee. So anything that could be considered a violent action that you as two referees pool deck didn't see can be brought to your attention through the VAR, which is very nice because there's a lot happening in transition from one attack to the other attack that you can't watch everything. When you split the pool, you split it diagonally, and you watching the attack on your right-hand side, on your right hand, and that would be called the hole. So you watch, and we also number the players. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you speak before and you say, okay, will you watch my 1 and 2 closer to you? I'll watch the rest. So you do communicate a lot on your earpieces. And then now at a local level, when you don't have that technology, there's a lot of eye communication. When you've been reffing, the community is so small, you start learning the different little nuances that the other referees have. So you kind of start, the relationships we have as a reffing community, you understand how the other person does ref. So yeah, we've got our little kind of ways to back each other up, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And I'm sure it helps, especially when there's a big crowd, lots of noise. You're never going to be able to communicate with anything other than visually standing on opposite sides of the pool. So it's good to have those little signals at hand, ready to use them. At the local level, if there's anyone interested, anyone who thinks they want to stay involved in water polo but not necessarily play, what would you say to them? And what are the highlights of a refereeing journey? Because I know sometimes, especially on my journey, people look at it and say, "Why would you ever want to do that?" It's just everyone gets upset with you all the time. But there's a whole side to it that's just so rewarding.
So there are a lot of mentors in the different provinces you can get hold of if you want to start your refereeing journey. But if my best advice is refereeing at the hardest level of any refereeing is under 13.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. It is. If you really want to learn about your refereeing, that's the age group you go, because everything happens from the technical aspect to the physical aspect. It's the best place to learn because it's slow enough for you to get into it, but everything is happening. So you do that.
You have to be aware of everything. Because I think also as you get to the professional level, teams are more structured. They're going to do fewer of the silly technical things. You've got more support. Obviously, there's added pressure because of the level. But in terms of spotting all the technical things, it can become a bit simpler.
And it is really rewarding because, there are times where you are educating the players in the pool at the same time that sometimes coaches don't have time to get to that point. The things about the new goal area, a lot of people don't understand or haven't been experienced it enough. So you as a referee are educating at the same time as officiating. So it is really exciting.
Come on, wake up now. Who got zombie? Wake up now. Sequilatos cut. Wake up now. Who got my sign? Get up and go.
With 15 delicious breakfasts, Spur is the place to be until 11 every morning. Enjoy an unreal breakfast, still just $49.90. Spur, people with a taste for life.
Wake up now. Come on. Yeah.
You mentioned the new goal area, new rules, laws. That's another thing. Rules or laws for water polo?
So it is rules and instructions.
Rules and instructions.
Yes.
So the rules and instructions for water polo, new ones, changes.
So
Can you help take us through that?
So
at a level that that the nerds,
the nerds,
not the nerds for everyone else.
So it's been quite difficult for especially the World Aquatics to be able to make the game easy enough to understand for anyone who hasn't watched water polo. So less whistles off the ball, but also be able to protect the players when it comes to water polo. It is one of the most physical sports you can. The off the ball it's monitored. The pulling, the pushing, the kicking off is allowed to a certain point. So it is very physical, and it is really it's the girls and the men, it's a tough game to sport. I mean, it was ranked one of the world's toughest sports. So to be able to maintain an equilibrium between keeping the players safe and not blowing your whistle as much for the audience to be able to watch and enjoy, they've done a lot of new instructions for the game. So things like there's a goal area, which is 2 meters in front of the goals and outside the goals, where you can't come into that area at all, protects the goalie. But now you can play the ball around it. So it's opened up a lot of cross paths onto the post. It's very exciting. At the last World Champs now in Japan, the amount of goals scored off that post was just amazing water polo to watch. So physical, so tough, so high. It was just amazing. So it's allowing for more goals being scored, a lot more goals being scored. I mean, the one game at World Champs, there were 47 goals scored, and it was like 22.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like 22 to 24. It wasn't that.
So it wasn't 47.
No, it was
an
equal.
game.
It was a close game, and it was just goals area, which is what people want to see.
They want to see the goals.
Yeah. So it was very exciting, and the rules are encouraging more attacking play. They want people to attack without the whistle being blown all the time. So that's where that equilibrium has to kind of be maintained.
I do think if you haven't watched water polo before and you rock up at the pool, especially a couple of years ago, you're going to hear the whistle
all the time.
all the time. And it might be there's the ball, there's the player with the ball, and then it's something
Back there.
that
Yeah.
you're being called back for.
Yeah.
So that's cool to
Yes.
hear.
Yeah.
And where would you like to see it go over the next year and a bit? Do you think it's where it should be?
Well, there's Doha that's happening next year, which is the World Champs. So there's a new instruction being played now at the Girls Under 20 World Champs in Portugal, where a coach is allowed to have a referral. So you can call a referral for a penalty or take that penalty away, which is allowing, again, more protection of the game, protection of your players. So that's going to be quite exciting, a new addition to the sport. So be like hockey, the captain's referral for a short corner. Yes, so something similar to that. The game itself is just on this huge momentum forward of high-scoring games, super fast transitions. With this goal area, for the water polo people out there, you can't really drop too much because the shot's just going to come from the outside, because you can't front mark as much as you can now anymore because of the ball coming in behind you. If you're marking at the back and you've got top shooters on the top. So these new instructions and these new rules are allowing for way more attack and way more kickouts for your extra mans, which is where I see the sport going. It's just going to go from one attack to another attack, kickouts or shots. So almost like netball. So every attack will be a goal.
Yes.
So that's what it's probably going to be going to, yeah.
And I think that's what water polo already with the 30 seconds, and it's very attack focused, and this is going to just help iron it out and streamline it. So that's cool to hear. Something else I like asking referees of various sports, and a nerd like yourself, anything in the rules and instructions that you think actually might surprise people that they don't know is in there? Anything surprising?
You can get a yellow card for faking or assimilating. A lot of people don't know that. So if you're pretending to get pulled back, or you're pretending, you can actually get a card for that. The coach is the only person on the bench who's allowed a yellow. Anyone else shouting is a straight red, and you have to leave. I suppose.
I wish in rugby, I know we can send people from the playing enclosure, but it rarely happens. And we just take the abuse, which is so bad sometimes. So I wish there was a proper formalized, like in water polo. I mean, it's set. Everyone knows you as a coach, a player outside.
Yeah, but you see, water polo coaches have a direct influence in the game. With the rugby box, your field is so big. The person on the other side is never going to hear you. Yeah. In water polo, a coach is so important to the game. He can tell you to go right, and you go right, and that can influence the game completely. So that is why it's so important to have those rules about the bench.
That they all behave properly.
They all behave sometimes.
Okay. But I like that interesting one about the faking, and that you can be yellow carded for that. Yes. So that's cool.
Yeah. Other than that, it's really just to protect the players. So anything that could lead to an act of violence or any retaliation from a player, you just want to cut out. So the game itself is to protect the players. The laws and rules is just to protect the players in the game.
Fantastic. We're going to go to the quiz in just a couple of moments so we can put that nerd knowledge to the test. But just before we do that, we're at Durban Girls College. We're talking about water polo. School water polo in South Africa, we've already said it's doing so well. What are your thoughts on school water polo going forward? Where would you like to see it grow to in the next couple of years? Or do you think it's already there? It's being streamed now with super sports schools. Just your general thoughts on that as someone who played water polo, now refs water polo.
I think the opportunities all the players at schools are getting, it's something we never had. So the schools are doing a really good job promoting the sport and getting the players to this level. I mean, if you look at our national under 20 team, we've got schoolgirls in there, so it's good. The schools are doing a very, very good job with water polo in our country. They're basically holding it together.
Cool. Happy to end on that. And now we're going to go to the Super Sport Schools podcast quiz. You'll have 60 seconds to answer as many questions correctly as you can. If you don't know the answer, just say pass. We'll go on to the next one. Most of them are just one word, straight, simple, quick answers. And at the moment, Tahira Augusti, the South African national women's hockey player who is in matric this year, she's at the top of the leaderboard with 13. It was a very hockey-focused quiz. This is a more general one. And your sister, Marcelle, though she was in a pair, they got 8.
I guess I just have to beat 8.
Lee Keet, are you ready to play the Super Sport Schools podcast quiz?
Okay.
Your time starts now. Which school is ranked number 1 for under 18 boys hockey in the country?
I think my sister got this one. I think it is Sax.
Correct.
Ah,
Name one of the 4 colours on the Super Sport Schools logo.
red.
Correct. In total, how many games will be played in the 2023 Rugby World Cup? 47, 48 or 49?
That has to be even number 48.
Correct. How much time is possession limited to in water polo before the ball must be turned over?
30.
Correct. In golf, an albatross is a hole-in-one on a par what?
Par 4.
Correct. True or false? Super Sport Schools will stream the 2023 Sachs water polo tournament.
Definitely.
Correct. How long in meters is a typical athletics track?
100.
400.
Oh, no, 400 in a row.
How many players is a water polo team allowed to have in the water at any time?
7.
Correct. In cricket, how many wickets does it usually take for a team to be bowled out?
11.
It's 10.
10.
True or false? In water polo, you cannot score a goal using your fist.
True.
Correct. Which South African cricket stadium has the biggest capacity?
Someone in Joburg.
Time is up there. It is in Joburg. I was looking for Wanderers. But I think despite that, I'm going to have to do a count quickly. Is it 8?
No, I couldn't do the same as myself.
Oh, if you just said Wanderers, but it's 8.
8.5.
8.5. Okay, we can say it's 8.5. You knew at least it was in Joburg, so there you beat Marcelle. But
Yes.
Lee, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for the
chatting.
opportunity. It's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for what you guys are doing. It's very, very cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of the Super Sport Schools podcast brought to you by Spur here on DSTV channel 216, the home of school sports. Each week we have a new episode every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So make sure you catch us again next week. And remember that you can also listen to the podcast wherever it is that you get your podcasts and watch any episodes that you've missed on YouTube. I'll see you next time. But from me, Alex, here in Durban, bye-bye.
This has been the Super Sports Schools podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur State Ranchers.